What a weebs. Wrong Dad here, back with another Manga Mornings. This time we're just going to be talking about Dr. Stone chapter 189 because, yeah, let's just roll the thing, alright? Alright, before we talk about the actual chapter, I just want to give a sweet shout out to Boichi and those beautiful color pages. Even Viz's banner picture for this week is the Dr. Stone characters, because I believe they're celebrating 4 years, which is fantastic. And I mean, they have accomplished a ton within those 4 years. But this art is just, it's just so good. It's just so good. How do you not love it? And we get these beautiful color pages leading us in. And let's talk about what happened in it. So I am gonna go through the chapter bit by bit, but first I just really want to address that we as an audience, we know that the things that occurred in this chapter, especially as far as spoilers, the deaths, those kind of things, we as an audience and as shonen manga readers, we know that that's not going to stick, and that especially given Dr. Stone, more likely than not, these characters are going to get brought back with the petrification device that will heal them somehow. But the shock factor is still massive, and hey, it encouraged me to bring back Manga Mornings, if only for this. With that said, let's get into the actual contents of the chapter and those deaths I was talking about. Starting off, we get yet another beautiful color page from Boichi showcasing Kohaku and her thoughts as she bleeds out and starts to die. She's sitting there realizing what's going on and saying that she's going to put her faith in Senku and the Kingdom of Science. And even though we've seen this several times in the manga before, that Kohaku, while she was a little tough to win over initially, she has become a huge supporter of science and what the brain can do and what Senku can do. She really, really believes in him, as I believe the entire cast does, because he's proven himself time and time again. But to see it be highlighted in her dying moments, her last thoughts, that shows just how deep that bond runs and that trust. And it was a great highlight. I just hope that this isn't, that, she can hold on, that this isn't the last thing we're gonna get from Kohaku. And considering that she's Boichi's favorite character to draw, I highly doubt that it will be. But just in case, I'm gonna say I don't want her to go on, because, she's hilarious and super strong and, hot as fuck. From there, we get a setup for later in the chapter where we see Taiju and Gen working on the petrification device and a reintroduction of that kind of sonic blast that we saw way back in the Stone War. So it's really cool to see that kind of bounce back so that Taiju's voice will be able to carry far enough to get to the petrification device that is positioned so that it can encompass the entire area. And this also just kind of sets up where they're at for later. However, that does lead us into seeing the state of things post the brutal attacks from last week, where Stanley and his group are formulating their strategy. But from there, we see that Chrome is still trying to get the diamonds to work, and that they're really hoping that Tsukasa and Hyoga and Kohaku could buy them more time. However, this is going to be where the key of information really shows its importance in a battle, as well as the expertise and the difference in experience between our lovable cast of just over teens and battle-hardened veterans. Because the Kingdom of Science does not know the fates that have befallen to their strongest fighters just yet, but Stanley knows what's happened to them, obviously. And he also recognizes that that was their strongest force, that was their biggest card to be played in a battle, and it's already off the table. So, making the correct decision, they're weak, they don't have their best defense forces, we're fucking strong, even though we're a bit blind right now, we've got to push. This is the time to push and go in. Something I wish my fucking teams in Apex would do sometimes. Speaking of which, real quick plug here, I've been updating my Twitch stream for the last couple of weeks, building it out. We had an extra time slot, so the link's down in the description below. Please do come over and check us out sometime. I stream at 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday to Thursday. But back to the manga. After we see Stanley decide to push and really capitalize on their advantage right now, we see Senku make the decision that he's going to send Luna away so that when the device goes off, in case anyone like loses fingers or anything, she with her medical knowledge would know how to suture wounds, stitch things back on, or do some complicated work with the stones. And that's the excuse he gives her to send her away, and recommends that Dr. Chelsea, since she knows geography and where to go, that she should be her guide. And you can tell Dr. Chelsea is hesitant initially, and it's not until they get a bit away from the area that she reveals and why she was sent and starts crying. And it's that they knew that they weren't going to make it in time, and Chelsea and Luna don't really have any combat abilities. They'd kind of just be sitting ducks, and they would much rather them leave and survive than to just pointlessly die with them. And it's really, really sad and beautiful. And the fact that it kind of flew over Luna's head, and it was all going to just be unsaid, especially on Senku's side, that to me really just showcases what a actual hero he is. Like, a lot of times he's kind of played up as a little bit of a jerk or a snob. Like, he's like really into his science and he's willing to step on a couple of toes to get there, but he does really have good intentions. He's just not too good at voicing his emotions sometimes, but his feelings definitely come through in actions like this. But before they are able to turn back or make any other decisions, we are shown that Stanley's group has already begun their bombardment of the Kingdom of Science. Cutting into the kingdom, we see Taiju and Gen talking about what's going on very briefly, and Taiju's like, I gotta do this, I gotta take the brunt of this, you know, stand up, defend this. If I can buy even 1 second or 2 seconds, that's, you know, 1 or 2 more seconds that they have to try and or survive, this is my job. I'm gonna put myself out there. Simultaneously, we also start to see Stanley's group, you know, talking about, look, if you feel bad that we're doing this, or that, you know, maybe they're kids or whatever, need I remind you, these are the enemy and they have a hostage. We have to do this, shoot on sight. And that really ups the stakes. It shows the seriousness, but that's also the moves that a veteran like that would make. There is a incredibly important VIP and enemy combatants. Feelings set aside, you gotta go and do that. I mean, I personally kind of disagree with it, but like, that's the stakes. And the manga's done a really good job of showing that these are soldiers. Over the last couple of chapters, when we saw that Francois and Suika were able to volunteer to be taken as captives and surrender themselves instead of being killed, and that there is a certain level of like morals and class that they are operating under. There's an etiquette to being at war. They don't want to commit war crimes, but that can't be applied here. There's a hostage. The stakes are too big, so they're gonna shoot to kill. And with that decision, we see the first tragedy of this attack, and Taiju lived up to his aspirations. He tried to block an explosion and seemingly had the entire front of his body blasted off. Like, from, it's a little hard to tell, you know, just black and white of the manga, but it looks like all of his skin was blown away and that he's just kind of a bloody mess heaping on the floor. And you see Gen weeping over him, saying, you gotta stop. This is a prank, right? You know, you can't prank a prankster. You always just get right back up. Like, this, just get back up. And he doesn't. And that's when the seriousness of the situation really starts to settle in. And as this happens, we see Dr. Zeno start talking to Ryu and saying, you know, like, it's clearly over. There is no one on this planet who could stop Stanley right now. He's too strong. He's got too much better gear. It's over, and Senku is never going to join us. So he knows that, I know that. Senku's only options at this point is death or a lifelong imprisonment, and it's bad news bears. It just ain't going to be good, man. So he's fucked. Join us, save yourselves. You can still just surrender and make it out of here. And Ryu's like, yo, you clearly don't know who the fuck we are, huh? because if we can buy even 1 second, 2 seconds, the world could change. It could be different. And we believe in that. We believe in the opportunity that we can bring upon ourselves, that humanity was always achieved and found success in each person taking that one step forward, every person buying the next person that 1 extra second of time. And that's the thing I love about the manga in general, just in its entirety of this series, is that it really highlights that the best thing that humanity has ever achieved is the ability to pass on knowledge, is the ability to pick up where someone else has left off. So if you're able to move that starting line even, a millimeter, a second forward, then that can make all of the difference in the achievements for those who start next. And that is what they're going to do. And they're going to carve that path. They're going to do what they can because they all believe in Senku, just like Kohaku. They all believe in him to the death. They are certain that he will triumph. There is a good chance, at least, that he will triumph. Or at the very least, the world that they have been hoping to achieve is the only one they are willing to accept, and thus they are not going to join Stanley, even if it means survival. But survival is in short supply for Ryu, because this dude gets fucking blasted. Oh, I mean, like, the art's good, right? Like, that panel is solid, but my dude just gets fucking blown to bits. Like, just... It looks like a fucking alien movie in here with like the little chesty guy. This dude is done-reno. But Senku, meanwhile, was able to pull Kaseki aside, and hopefully with their top craftsman, they'll be able to, finish the diamonds. But because all the diamonds are fucked too now. Like, it's such bad news bears. It's so bad. That's where they leave us. That's what we just have to live with, is this idea that maybe they'll pull it out. Maybe this will be okay. But for now, at least Taiju and Ryu are fucked. They are done. They are dead. They are done. It's over. It's over for them. And we even get a last little panel of Chelsea and Luna just being like, no, but it's too late. It's too late now. It's just, all right, happy 4 years, Dr. Stone. And yeah, that was it. That's chapter 189, my dudes. Like, that's the entirety of it. It was a massively impactful chapter, and like I said, it's a shonen story in a magazine primarily aimed at young dudes. Like, I don't expect these people to stay dead, especially because we've seen the healing powers of the petrification device, that they're so close to being able to activate again. So, and these are key characters. I really don't believe that they're just gonna bite the dust like this. That'd be a really dark step. I would almost kind of dig it, but I really do like the characters, so I hope they don't go that way, and I don't expect them to. Regardless, this chapter had a huge amount of shock factor, so much that, I had to get out of my little hole. On that note, actually, I just want to say sorry that there have been a huge, consistency in videos recently. I've been trying to think of new topics and things to talk about, but I keep thinking, like, who the fuck is gonna care about that? Like, who cares about my thoughts on it? So I just gotta get out of the mud on that one. But with the season shortly coming to a close, you can expect a wrap-up review of the series that I talked about previously on like 3-episode rules and stuff. And oh boy, like, thanks so much for the love on that redo of Healer video, and there's gonna be a reflection video on that one. Like, holy shit. I can't wait to talk about that one, because oh man, I feel bamboozled. But yeah, that's the stuff. That's this video. Like, what did you guys think about it? But yeah, Dr. Stone, it's crazy. I'm loving the anime. I think the anime is doing a phenomenal job of an adaptation, but the manga is still really, really good. And chapters like this highlight it. I'm so happy for the 4 years that it has achieved. All that said, that's gonna wrap up this video. Please, before you go, let me just get my little, my little shills out. If you haven't yet and you enjoyed this video, Please do make sure to go ahead and, well, where is it? There you go. Go ahead and like the video. That's going to help me out a fuck ton, right? Like if you liked it, you should like it, you know? Regardless of that, also, if you can, please, you know, just like hit me with that fucking subscribe. There's a little, whoop, no, this one, there's a little bell in there. You ring that shit. I let you know when I post. Clearly, it's not the most consistently. I'm not going to take up a lot of space in your feed, and this way you'll know when it happens. All right. But with that aside, the other things are just, look, man, I got a Twitter. All right. If you want updates on shit that I'm doing, follow that shit, right? But I've been building out that Twitch stream. I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday now, all at 9 p.m. I'm playing through The Witcher and I'm playing through Hollow Knight on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. And Thursday is kind of like the fun night, right? I'm also really looking forward to Outriders. That's all. I'll make some videos on that shit, or I'll stream it some more. That's me. Those are the things I'm doing. I'm a bit of a disaster. I'm gonna dye my hair green later tonight. Like, how's quarantine for you? So that's me. Those are the things that have been happening. Thank you so much for being here. Love you. Bye.
He's punching me faster.
I fucking believe in you. Come on. Beat that ass.
Please, someone clip that for us. That was amazing.
Oh my god, this dude is a fucking hero.